Sigma has just released not one but two fantastic fast aperture prime lenses. The 200mm f2 DG-OS Sport lens and the AF 12mm f1.4 DC Contemporary lens. So as I've got two lenses to get through today, I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to start out with the 200mm. So let's start out with 200mm and go through some of the key features, because there's quite a lot to get through. The lens weighs in 1800 grams and measures 118.9mm by 203mm, or at least that's for the E-mount version, so not a light lens by any means, and you certainly know you've got it on you. The lens has been constructed from 19 elements in 14 groups, including 2 FLD and 2 SLD glass elements for exceptional resolution across the entire frame. It offers fast autofocus speeds and 6.5 stops of optical stabilization, as well as 2 shooting modes, Mode 1 for general shooting and Mode 2 with intelligent optical stabilization, optimized for panning shots regardless of camera orientation, capturing motion smoothly without losing subject sharpness, making it a great choice for indoor sports. How much of that I'm going to capture in the quaint town of Cirencester, I'm not quite sure, but we'll see how things go. The lens features a nanoporous coating and a super multi-layer coating to minimise flare and ghosting for high contrast, richly detailed results. The tripod collar can double as a handle and also features this rather nice 90-degree click mechanism, so it's easy enough to dial in the right orientation. We have an aperture ring as well as a rubber focus ring, and other switches include a focus selector, focus range limiter switch, OS switch and a custom button switch. And it's also available in Sony E-mount and L-mount versions. I've got the Sony E-mount with me today. So I think it's time to get out there and put it through its paces. So starting out with the 200mm, this is going to be a fantastic portrait lens. Unfortunately, I doubt I'm going to get a huge amount of chance to utilize that while I'm out here. But there are a load of ducks over here, which I thought would be quite a nice little starter for me. Get a duck portrait, why not? Dial in that nice f2 aperture. Get some really nice, beautiful bokeh. We've also got some nice far off shots of the cathedral there as well, so I'll see what I can get with that from here, and then we'll get closer to the cathedral and see what sort of close-up detail stuff we can get. So I'm quite looking forward to this lens. This is going to be a fun one, I think. In fact, there's me talking about the cathedral, and I might as well take a shot now. Now that f2 aperture allows you to dial in some fantastic bokeh shots. However, there is one thing that's worth pointing out, and that's the close focusing distance, which is 1.7 meters. Now with a 200mm, I mean, it's quite easy to stay away from your subject at that point, but it is just something to worth consider. I was just taking some shots then, and the duck started walking towards me, and it was difficult to focus on it pretty quickly as it was moving toward me. So just something to just something to point out. Okay, this could make an interesting shoot. Oh yeah, see straight away that close focusing distance is something you definitely have to consider, unfortunately. I've actually got, I'm actually right by the side of the river, so there's only so far I can back up, but we'll do what we can. So I've got to get a bit of a move on here. It looks like we've got a pretty hefty storm coming on in, so I might be heading towards the cathedral a bit sooner than I thought. Got a bit close there, didn't I? Okay, so this is something that I always take photos of when I go to Cirencester, but I think with this lens it's a great example of the portraiture that you can get with it. I have to stand quite a way back to get both in frame, but I think that's great. Look at that subject separation. Oh, as there's noise going on in the background. I'm happy with that. That's really nice. I like that a lot. That 200mm focal length really does zoom in so much more than you think it does. It's crazy. I have to remember as well that I don't always have to use the f2 aperture. This might work out well. Look at that. The only thing I would say about it, the weight of the lens is a consideration. Just trying to keep the shot stable can be, or should I say in frame, can be a little difficult at times. However, that was it 6.5 stops of image stabilization, that helps out tremendously. I'm very happy with what I'm getting. Beautiful shots. I might take a little walk in the cathedral, I think, and see what sort of images we can get in there.
Entering the church, I found myself entranced by the music within and the maker of it. Curious to get a closer look at the creator, I was able to utilise the 200mm focal length for capturing my subject from a distance. That being said, I was seen and clearly annoyed the guy. Time to leave.
Something that is great with this lens, despite its size, it does actually make itself pretty good for street photography, because you can keep such a distance from your subject, and if they look over at you, you can just pretend that you're looking at the building behind them or whatever to put them at ease. So it actually works quite well for street photography.
The last thing that I wanted to test out before switching over to the 12mm was the faster autofocusing and optical stabilisation that the lens offers. The bright f2 aperture makes the lens a perfect choice for indoor sports such as basketball, volleyball, swimming and track events, but seeing as I had neither of those available to me today, I decided to do what I could with the fast moving targets back at the lake. The f2 aperture ensures faster shutter speeds even in low light, while the high response linear actuator motor and optical stabilisation system that offers up to 6.5 stops of correction allows you to capture fast moving targets with precision. I was very happy with how many sharp images I got here.
I think I'm done with the 200mm for now. I'm going to head back to the car to drop this off. Then we're going to go out and try out the 12mm lens and see what we can do with that. While I go back to the car to sort things out, I'm going to leave you with past me to go through some of the key features of the 12mm. Now let's move on to the 12mm f1.4 lens. I'm quite looking forward to having a go with this one. This is the world's first 12mm f1.4 contemporary lens, and it weighs just 225 grams and measures a mere 68mm by 69.4mm, which I have to say seems like nothing after lugging around the 200mm. The lens is constructed of 14 elements and 12 groups, including 2 SLD glass elements and 3 double-sided spherical lenses for edge-to-edge sharpness, as well as minimised ghost and flaring thanks to Sigma's advanced simulation technology. The layout of the lens has been kept as minimal as possible, though we do have an aperture ring. It's worth pointing out that the Canon RF version actually has a control ring as opposed to the aperture ring, which allows you to assign whichever function you wish to it. It also features a dust and splash resistant structure, as well as a water oil repellent coating on the frontmost surface of the lens. And this lens is available for Canon RF and Fujifilm X mounts, as well as the Sony E mount, which is what I have here. Now we've got an Abbey just over there, and I think that's going to be the perfect place to start using this 12mm lens. So 12mm on, this is going to be quite a different experience after the 200mm. It's going to be literally a very different perspective. So I'm kind of curious as to how quickly I dial into this one. But yeah, this is going to be fun. We're going to get some, well, here we got the cathedral right away. Let's do this. Let's dial that aperture in nicely. Now, I think it's fair to say that the 12mm is going to excel at landscapes and architecture, which we're going to be doing some in just a second. But it's also worth pointing out we have a close focusing distance of just 17.2 centimeters, which is a stark contrast to the 200mm that we were using earlier. What was it, 1.7 meters? So not only do we have this ultra wide angle of view, but we can also get really in close and get some detailed stuff as well. So I think this is actually going to be quite a lot of fun to use this lens. Crazy how much we can fit in to the field of view here. Crazy. I don't know how much is picking up on the GoPro, but I am very close to this, and look at how much is actually getting into shot here. Might put up the 200mm shot that I got earlier as comparison. Let's try out some of the close focusing. So like I said, 1.7 centimeters, I think 17.2 centimeters. We can get really in close here. Very good.
I once again returned to the church, but this time with a new perspective. Literally. I was able to utilise the short focus distance to get right up to subjects and capture fantastic detail, while the ultra-wide focal length allowed for unique angles. I genuinely felt I had much more freedom with this lens as opposed to the 200mm in this situation, as I was able to effortlessly bounce between intimate close-ups and expansive interiors. The versatility of the lens is just outstanding. As my time with the lens drew to a close, I was able to capture a few last-minute shots on the streets of Cirencester before paying a visit to some old friends.
I would be remiss not to try and see what this does with the 12mm. Let's have a go at this. Oh wow. So we have been promised a storm all day, and it's finally here. So I think I'm just about done anyway. I'm just going to try and quickly get a few video bits because the focus breathing on this lens is minimal, so pulling focus is going to be fantastic for video use. So I'm just going to try and get a little bit of that if I can, and then I think I'm going to have to do my summary from the car because I think it's supposed to be getting worse. This is not fun. Apologies for the rather crass outro. As you can see, it is absolutely tipping it down outside, and I just wanted to get my thoughts on these lenses before I have to send them back. I had such a good time with the 200mm. This is a stunning lens, absolutely stunning. The bokeh it produces is absolutely phenomenal. I was very impressed with the low light capabilities thereof. I was very happy that I got some decent wildlife shots when I was out there. I mean, this is a sports lens after all. It's exactly what it's designed for. You could see from some of the shots that I got that this is an absolutely stunning portrait lens. The bokeh that you can just dial in, that subject separation, the compression that you get when using a 200mm lens is just absolutely glorious. If there was any two drawbacks that I had from it, that 1.7 meter close focus distance, it was a bit of an issue a couple of times, and the weight of it is definitely notable. There were a few times when I was trying to compose shots with it, and the weight is definitely noticeable, but I'd happily put up with that for the quality that you get from this lens. I had so much fun with this lens, and I wish that I had this one for longer. Absolutely sensational. And then of course we've got the 12mm f1.4. This was this was really crazy using this one directly after the 200mm. First of all, I think this is what, 225 grams? Oh, yeah, 225 grams. I shouldn't doubt myself. This is one of those lenses you barely even know that you've got on you. Not only do you get that incredible ultra wide angle, which was perfect for landscapes, perfect for architecture, but you've got a close focusing at distance of 17.2 centimeters. I was able to get in so close to subjects. So even though you've got that wider angle, you can get really in close and get some really great detailed shots. And of course, you've got that f1.4 aperture, so you can dial in some fantastic bokeh as well. I don't really have anything bad to say about this lens. I mean, as I said, it's so light you barely even know that it's on you. It's actually way more versatile than you'd probably give it credit for. Just being able to get up that much closer just makes it so much more of a versatile lens. There was very minimal warping in the images as well. I didn't get to try out the video side of things quite as much as I would have liked with this, but minimal focus breathing means it's going to be a great choice for filmmakers out there as well. Just focus pulling is going to be so much more responsive. This two fantastic lenses. Like I said, even the sort of qualms I had with the 200mm, I'd happily put up with for the quality that you're getting. It's not often that I get products like this where I don't really have anything bad to say. I enjoy both these lenses immensely. Sigma do quality lenses. I was hoping to get back out, but I don't think that's going to happen. The rain is just not laying off, but that's not your concern. If you do have any more queries about these lenses, make sure that you click the links in the description of this video. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future Clifton Cameras content, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully I'll be able to get out of this car at some point. Got to edit the video for a start.